love you.
Did the Canada Geese really cause the engine failure that forced Sully to ditch in the Hudson? How fast was the plane actually sinking as the waters flooded in? And did Sully truly risk his own life by staying aboard until the very last passenger was rescued? We've all seen the incredible story of Captain Chesley Sully Sullenberger and the miracle on the Hudson play out on the big screen. But how much of what we saw in the movie was actually true to life? Today we'll answer all these burning questions and more as we go behind the scenes and reveal the truth. After watching the movie, you might be wondering, did the Canada Geese really cause the engine failure? Yes, it happened exactly as shown in the movie. The plane's records confirmed that at 2,800 feet, both engines stopped working after hitting a group of Canada geese. Passengers heard a loud crash as the birds got sucked into the engines, causing flames to appear from one side. It was a scary moment for everyone on board. How long was the plane in the air? The entire flight lasted just 5 minutes and 20 seconds, from takeoff to landing. In that short time, Sully had to make a split-second decision that could have endangered hundreds of lives. He circled the Hudson River once to prepare for the water landing, all while the passengers remained unaware of the impending danger. How fast was the plane sinking? Surprisingly fast. With vents open and a breach near the tail, water was flooding in rapidly. Passengers had only 24 minutes before the plane would be completely submerged. Imagine the panic as they realized their survival depended on a quick rescue. It's a real-life thriller scenario. How much experience did Sully have? Sully was no ordinary pilot. With over 40 years of flying experience, including time as a fighter pilot in the Air Force, he was exceptionally skilled. In 1969, he enrolled in the U.S. Air Force Academy and graduated as the top flyer in his class. From 1975 to 1979, he served as a fighter pilot in the Air Force, attaining the rank of captain. During his service, he fulfilled various roles, including training officer, flight leader, and member of an aircraft accident investigation board. From learning to fly at 16 to becoming a commercial pilot, he had decades of experience. And on that critical day in 2009, he drew upon that vast knowledge to make a life-saving decision. Did the passengers genuinely fear drowning after the water landing? Absolutely. Some even believed they were already submerged, as all they could see was water outside the windows. With water entering the cabin and the rear sinking, passengers panicked, fearing the worst. They desperately used their cell phones to contact loved ones while scrambling for an exit. Rob Kaloje, a retired postal worker who was aboard Flight 1549 with his son Jeff, recounted the chaos. People were climbing over seats to escape. How many lives were saved? A remarkable 155 people were saved that day. Everyone on Flight 1549. It's astonishing to think that 155 individual stories were spared from tragedy, thanks to one man's quick thinking and exceptional piloting skills. Did some passengers suffer injuries? Yes, while most injuries were minor, such as hypothermia, some were severe. One flight attendant sustained a deep leg laceration, and a passenger cracked his sternum upon impact. The absence of fatalities is the real miracle. Sully managed to land the plane as smoothly as possible given the extreme circumstances. Were they rescued by New York City ferry boats? Absolutely. The first ferry to arrive, the Thomas Jefferson, quickly assisted the stranded passengers. However, rescuing them from the wings in icy water was challenging without specialized equipment. Crew members improvised with nets, rope ladders, and anything they could find to ensure everyone's safety. It was a collaborative effort by the ferries and Coast Guard to save every life that day. Does a video exist of the actual crash landing? Yes. Watching the plane glide onto the Hudson is truly breathtaking. Coast Guard footage captures the moment when U.S. Airways Flight 1549 appears, descending gracefully before touching the water. Sully's remarkable skills are evident as the plane floats calmly while passengers evacuate onto the wings. Did simulations confirm Sully made the right call? After the landing, simulations were conducted to assess Sully's decision. Results varied. Without considering human factors like the time it took for Sully to decide, the simulations suggested a possible return to an airport. However, introducing real-world variables made outcomes less certain. Aviation experts agreed with Sully's cautious approach. Attempting to return to LaGuardia posed too many risks over a populated area. The simulation supported that his decision likely saved lives both on board and on the ground. Was Sully truly burdened with guilt over his decision? Well, this is an aspect where the movie seems to exaggerate. Sully himself stated that he was confident in his choice to land in the Hudson. While the FAA did initially question his decision, Sully maintains he needed to be absolutely sure, for the safety of everyone on board and on the ground. There was no room for uncertainty when so many lives were at risk. Did Sully experience PTSD after the accident? Absolutely, and understandably so. Sully had just lived through every pilot's nightmare, followed by a situation few can comprehend. successfully crash landing a commercial airliner in one of the world's most iconic waterways. He openly admitted to experiencing flashbacks and insomnia in the weeks following the incident, describing the moments before the landing as the worst feeling he'd ever endured. The trauma was undeniably real. Were the NTSB investigators really the bad guys in the movie? Actually, the film exaggerated their role to add tension. They weren't portrayed as evil characters trying to ruin Sully. Their thorough questioning and analysis were just part of their job. The movie even changed their names to avoid blaming real people. So, the scrutiny Sully faced was because of procedure, not ill intent. How incredible was Sully's water landing? Imagine landing a huge airplane on water perfectly, without it breaking apart. That was Sully's amazing task. One small mistake could have led to tragedy, but he expertly landed the plane, saving everyone on board. He had to ensure Flight 1549 descended at precisely the right speed and angle. If the nose was pitched too high, the fuselage risked absorbing too much impact, potentially causing the plane to split in two. If the angle was too low, the engines might hit the water first, risking structural damage. Striking the perfect balance was critical to avoid disaster. It was an amazing display of skill, rightly called a miracle. Have there been other plane crashes in the Hudson? Major crashes like Flight 1549 are rare, thankfully, but there have been smaller incidents over the years. In 2016, a vintage plane crashed near New York, and in 1982, Air Florida Flight 90 crashed into the Potomac River, with only a few survivors. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. We've talked a lot about Sully, but how did the survivors feel about the film's portrayal? Well, many who experienced the miracle on the Hudson believe the movie did a great job capturing the important moments and emotions of that day. They appreciated the accurate depiction of Sully's actions and the overall pacing of the events. While no film can fully replicate such a personal and traumatic experience, many passengers felt it came close to reality. Did Sully really stay in the plane to ensure no one was left behind? Absolutely. That part was not exaggerated for the movie. Sully's selflessness was extraordinary. He walked through the sinking plane twice, ensuring every passenger was safe before evacuating himself. His commitment to their well-being went beyond just landing the plane. Was there tension with Sully's wife due to the media frenzy? Becoming a national hero overnight can turn your life upside down. Glory, Sully's wife, reportedly clashed with him initially over their hectic schedule of interviews and appearances. She expressed concern that the overwhelming attention could harm them if not managed properly. It was a reality check from a supportive spouse amidst the media frenzy. Did Sully himself have any kids awaiting his safe return? Sully had two daughters, Kelly and Kate, who were teenagers at the time of the incident. Imagine the fear they felt when they heard their dad's plane had crashed. Their fear turned to relief and pride when they learned he had saved everyone. Did director Clint Eastwood have similar personal flight experience? Yes, Clint Eastwood was well suited to tell Sully's story, because he'd experienced a plane crash himself years earlier. While in the military at 21, Eastwood was on a flight that had to land in the Pacific Ocean due to mechanical issues. They had only about 30 seconds to evacuate before the plane sank. This first-hand experience gave Eastwood insight into the life-or-death situation Sully faced. Now that you know all the facts, does the movie accurately show this miraculous landing, or do you think some parts were made up? Let us know in the comments below. And remember to make sure your pilot is called Sully before you take off in a jet next time.